We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be real. Welcome to Your Auntie Talk Sex, the space where we talk about intimacy, emotion, and the layers in between. No awkwardness, no hype, just real talk. Let's get into it. Let's talk about fantasies. Not the Pinterest board kind, the ones that sneak in during traffic, or the ones that never left after puberty. Sexual fantasies are one of the most human things about us. They're private, personal. Here's the part most people don't say out loud. Incredibly common. You're not weird for having them. You're not broken for not having them. And you're definitely not alone if yours don't look like a Hollywood movie. In fact, researchers have studied this, and yes, with permission. Dr. Justin Lee Miller's study of over 4,000 people showed that most of us share very similar themes in our sexual imagination. So let's go there. No judgment, no shame. Here are the top 10 most common fantasies reported across all genders. Number 1, group sex. Threesomes, orgies, being watched, being shared. Sometimes it's about novelty. Sometimes just the idea of being wanted by many. Number 2, the power play. Domination, submission, spanking, restraints. This isn't about trauma. It's often about trust, control, intensity. Some people want to surrender. Sometimes they want to command. Number 3, sex with a stranger. Not because you want to be with a stranger, but because it removes pressure. No reputation, no expectations, just raw curiosity. Number 4, being watched or watching. Exhibition and voyeurism are as old as mythology. Even the gods spied on each other. This one's not about being exposed. It's about being seen. Number 5, same-sex encounters. Even for folks who identify as straight, this fantasy shows up. It might not mean you want to change your identity. Sometimes it's just your mind asking, what if? Curiosity doesn't require a label. Number 6, romantic, passionate, soul-melding connection. Surprised? Many people's strongest fantasy is emotional, being wanted fully, not just for your body, but for your being. Number 7, public places. Elevators, beaches, back seats. Why? Because being almost caught makes people feel more alive. Number 8, rough sex, or that taken fantasy. Often misunderstood, but very common. It's not about violence. It's about letting go of control in a safe mental space. You don't have to want it in real life to imagine it. Number 9, taboo dynamics. The professor and student, boss and assistant. It's not about ethics. It's about tension, power, access denied, then suddenly granted. And number 10, being worshipped. No rush, no trade, just you are everything. That kind of attention, that's a fantasy on its own. Now here's the important part. Fantasies aren't confessions. They're not always desires you want to act out. They're symbolic, emotional. A lot of the time, they're not even about the act itself. They're about something deeper. Feeling powerful or safe or wanted. Out of your head for a moment. And they can change. Some people fantasize more when they're stressed. Others fantasize less when they're in love. Some people replay the same idea for years. Others treat their fantasies like a movie trailer collection. There's no should here. So, what should you do with your fantasies? Well, that's up to you. Some folks bring them into real life. Others leave them where they live, in imagination. Now, sometimes that's for the best. I remember once, my ex-husband shared a fantasy about being controlled by a stripper, and I thought, all right, let's try it. Now, let me say this clearly. Kudos to all strippers. They're talented, strong, unbothered by thigh bruises. I, on the other hand, I looked more like Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies, flailing, committed, and very well aware of gravity. If you do share them with a partner, go slow. Make space for awkward laughter. Let them say no without fear, and remember the goal isn't to make it happen. It's to feel more known, more connected, maybe more curious together. Because being sexually healthy doesn't mean you're fantasy-free. It means you can hold your imagination without shame and still show up honestly wherever your reality is. And this last piece of advice, if you do share fantasies with a partner, maybe don't start with choreography. Let's just say it. Does size matter? You probably already filled in the blank. Penis, right? But that's not the only place this question lives. Size seems to matter everywhere. Height, breast size, butt size, waist size, thigh gaps, shoe size, bank accounts, follower counts. We live in a world obsessed with scale. How big? How small? Too much? Not enough. And somehow, size has become a shortcut for value. For a lot of men, there's quiet pressure to be tall, broad, and long enough down there, or to pretend they don't care. But we all know the bathroom jokes. We've heard the locker room talk. And what do we call it when someone drives a flashy car? Overcompensating. For women, it's the opposite. Smaller is often seen as better. Thinner waist, tighter thighs, dainty hands, and yet boobs are supposed to be big and perky, but not too big. It's a moving target, and it never stops moving. And let's be honest, a lot of this isn't about attraction. It's about status. Because if size really mattered as much as we're told, why are so many average people in loving, hot, thriving relationships? Because most people, once the lights are off and you're face-to-face with someone you trust, don't care about your measurements. They care about your presence, your energy, your honesty, how you touch, how you make them feel. Now let's talk about the myth that bigger is always better. Sometimes, sure. But ask people who've experienced too much and you'll hear a different story. Painful, awkward, distracting. Turns out pleasure isn't about inches. It's about connection, communication, curiosity. And while we're at it, let's flip the script. Does size matter? Because the fear of not being enough is just as powerful. Smaller chest, shorter height, less muscle, less experience. You want to know the truth? The sexiest thing in the room is someone who isn't constantly performing. It's someone who knows their worth doesn't shrink or grow depending on a ruler or a bra size. So does size matter? Sometimes, to some people, for some moments. But if it's the only thing you're measuring, you're probably missing something much more important. So actually, forget those lights off. Leave them on. Let them see you. Let you see you. Because the goal was never perfection. The goal is connection. And getting real doesn't come in one size. I'd love to hear what this stirred up for you. Your stories, your reflections, your own questions. Remember, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be real. Until next time.